Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We are here, and once again, it is our great pleasure to be in your reality. So we are gathered once again for a Sunday moon afternoon. It is what many would call a perfect day in the South, North Carolina at its best. The skies are blue, minimum interference on the airwaves. People are happy, or they think they are happy. The leaves are slowly turning, and you are getting the whiff of autumn in the air. Pumpkins everywhere, and not so far in the future, you have the upcoming cross-quarter of Halloween, All Hallows Eve, All Saints' Day, etc., All Souls' Day. Very, very important time where energies are stirred up. A few days ago, it was a new moon. And new moons, actually on Thursday, initiate a new cycle, new beginning. You were talking about the solar eclipse of August. That would be a big new beginning in your country. And of course, as we have mentioned many times, but we will reiterate here that that eclipse happened in a very tender place in President Donald Trump's chart. And it could mean many, many things. But definitely it was a karmic placement, and he is exceptionally vulnerable. And someone was talking about projections of perhaps his departure or demise, but we would just add in that when you have a president or a person of great prominence, and the eclipse falls as it did, not by his sun, but by his ascendant Mars karmic position, activating some very, very big issues. He's not as stable, let's say, as they are wanting you to believe. There's chaos, lots of chaos behind the scenes, lots of rumblings, lots of uncertainty, and it's only going to grow and grow and grow. And on that level, let's say, the trust levels are being betrayed. People don't know who to trust anymore. They're double agent, a triple agent, who's on what side, who's pretending to be all for this when they really are not. So it's very, very complex on the inner circles of politics. And for those of you who are looking into the globe of it and attempting to see what's going on and come up with some rationale or some understanding, you're only going to be able to do it psychically. And of course, that is why you are here, why we are here, to remind you of your own empowerment, to emphasize that you are creators and co-creators of your reality. And you do it effortlessly. You do it with panache and grace and sometimes struggle, but however you do it, you're doing it. And all people are thinking. They have consciousness within them, so they have issues. You know, consciousness is not annihilated. It is translated over, transferred into what you call other realities after you decease. So there is no point in ever being afraid of being deceased or thinking that being deceased is an ending. It's just a waste of energy. And of course, what we are encouraging all of you to do is how to tap into energy, how to raise your own energy, how to spend the energy. It is our intention. And of course, intentions are a way of directing energy. It's just like a conductor, waving the wand. Your intentions wave a wand that instructs the field of existence as to how you want your symphony played. And you are doing it all the time. So part of the challenge now, as you are being bombarded by all manner of insider fighting that is a war on America. And Donald Trump, as you well know, he's a retired reality king, but yet he's just shifted his reality show from television to the Capitol. And basically, it's been reported that other countries around the world are enthralled and fascinated by the American reality show, because they see things occurring, Trump saying things, people saying things back, and the reports have come in from various countries around the world that the TV shows cannot compete, and that people are not watching the soap operas and reality shows in foreign countries. The American reality show, where Trump has put one American against another. And this is what reality shows are about, yes? Each individual competes. So it is not his orchestration. He is being played. And there's not a politician that you have had in centuries that does not have men in the back room. Now women are more involved. But someone is in the back room, dictating, setting up, manipulating, massaging, maneuvering the forces that want to govern people. And this is a time out of mind battle. Do you help the people, or do you work with those behind the scenes that want to suppress the people and keep the people from figuring out how much power they have? We are not talking about money power. We are talking about inner power, the power of the mind, the power to manifest. This is essential to understand. From time out of mind, especially since the Anunnaki came to visit about 500,000 years ago, and this batch of Anunnaki, they were mostly threatened by a people, a creation that they helped to bring into form, that innately had power within it to supersede the Anunnaki. And we can talk more about that later if you wish. But we are seeding some ideas for you, creating a scenario so that you can picture it. And of course, picturing and using your imagination is absolutely the cheap and easy way to create what you want. It has been advised to you for a long time that think about it, put some energy behind it, use your third eye, picture what you want. And of course, there's many successful athlete who has trained in the capacity of picturing it, no matter how inadequate or uncoordinated someone is. The discipline is not in the muscles, in the training. Of course it is there. The more you repeat things, then of course the body takes on the memory and then it performs. But there are much more facile ways to do things. You practice your golf game in your mind. You practice your baseball swing. You practice catching a ball. You imagine it. And people might think, what a waste of time. Oh, it is not at all. It has been a well proven technique. And there's not any of the top athletes who have not been programmed in this capacity. Picturing, imagining your skills. And when you picture it, the body then will align itself neurologically to fulfill what it is that you want. So, for example, this doesn't work just for athletes, it works for all things. And no matter how you define yourself, oh, I've always been overweight, how could I possibly lose weight? Or, oh, I've always been afraid of heights, or oh, I've never been able to walk more than a block or two, or me, I couldn't run, or oh, I'm not coordinated, how could I possibly swing a golf ball or throw a golf club? Whatever your, I could never, oh, I can't, I've always been. These are stories you tell yourself, often based on past experience. The problem about past experience is that it's past experience. And too many people carry that past experience into the now, and worse, projected into the future, as if things are never going to change. As if once you are uncoordinated, then you could never be coordinated. Or once you failed a spelling bee, then forever you will never be able to know how to spell. This is foolishness. And yet, these ideologies are accepted time out of mind by humans. So having a body, just because you have a body, does not mean you know what to do with it or how to manage it. And becoming aware of how you hold the body, how you operate your structure, your spine, your pelvis, and how you hold yourself and carry yourself is very, very important. It begins to develop the first level of awareness. Another level of awareness is listening. Listening to the words that you use to describe how you feel. And of course, honesty is the best policy, but also you must exhibit some manner of cleverness so that you use words that augment your expressions and clarify your expressions without damning yourself with I'm always this way, or I'm so afraid, or I'm full of worry, or our forbidden words are should, trying, guilt, worry, and doubt. I'll forever be guilty about this. I worry about this all the time. I doubt myself on everything. I'm always trying. These words are impotence. They do not achieve anything. They are wasted expressions. So if you can remember them, should, trying, guilt, worry, doubt. This is what we call the first stages of awareness. And of course, awareness is work, and there's no end. There's no arrival point. I have become aware. I now know. Folks, as our vehicle said to you, she could live another 100 years and she'd still be figuring it out. We'll tell you that you could incarnate hundreds of more times and you'll still be figuring it out. So there's no failing and there's no arriving and winning and I am the valedictorian of all of the aware people. I am at the top of the heap. Impossible. It is consciousness constantly learning about itself. You may reach a peak in Everest, so to speak, in a lifetime, based on what is available, based on the culture, the times, what's being understood. But then you can incarnate again, backwards and forwards in time, of course, as you understand. And then add to that soul's understanding a whole new vista. So this is why people do incarnate. Scenery changes, the experiences change. It's like going out to dinner. Everyone needs to eat, and if you have monies, it's kind of fun sometimes to go out and have a prepared meal, especially if it's all healthy and well prepared. But if you ate at the same place every day, every meal, all the time, there would be something that would be mundane. But now Raleigh, which used to have a bit of a mediocre restaurant scene, is popping and hopping with all kinds of foods and inventive and creative ways of dining. And so people who have monies and are curious may go from one restaurant to another, because there's so much to experience, so much to taste, so much to learn. It just happened in the last few years. Will it continue for 50 or 100 years? Totally unlikely. Something will occur sooner or later to stress the economy, or perhaps foods will not be so available, or chefs retire, or people lose interest. It was the same with lifetimes. You pop in because you want to experience it. So remember that. And in this lifetime, this current time, nano years, and we use that term, the nanosecond, which means 1/billionth of a second. And we use the nano years as a term to describe the period of time from 1987 through and including 2012. when the winter solstice sun was in direct alignment with the galactic center, as it is and will continue to be. And this year, as our vehicle was saying to you, winter solstice is going to be extra special. There's super energy around it. So now let's see what else is there for super energy. In a few weeks, you are going to have a full moon, about 10, 12 days. It will be a very potent, powerful moon. It is your yearly Taurus-Scorpio moon, moon in Taurus, sun in Scorpio. It is a super moon, meaning that the moon is very close to Earth, and there are other alignments around that moon. We will be in Sedona, stirring things up as we usually do. And there will be great bursts of energy, much to achieve. Also, currently now, today, this afternoon, now, Mars has entered the sign of Libra, where it will be for a bit of a while, 6 weeks or something. Jupiter is a few weeks now into Scorpio. Early January, this is for those of you who want timings, Mars will be aligned with Jupiter in Scorpio. They will be, we forget what the degrees are, early, under 10 degrees, of course. Many astrologers have come to the conclusion, perhaps Terry, you can back this up later, Mars aligned with Jupiter is big trouble, big chaos. In Scorpio, are you kidding? Big stuff. So what we are getting around to here is that from the eclipses in August, and looks like it's moving into next year, it's going to be pancaked with a lot of devastating, tumultuous, chaotic activity. And the chaos that you see in the media and outside world is simply an outward projection of the behind-the-scenes breakdown and chaos. And of course, for many more years, in this post-nano time, 2013 through and including 2027, these are the breakdown years. This is the breakdown and the elimination of all things that are unnecessary, things that are corrupt, things that no longer serve the good of humankind. And so you will see a massive breakdown within the medical system, because around 2020 there's going to be 2020 through 2022 massive health crisis. And even if you were to triple the size of the health system in the USA and make it all for free, no one had to pay a penny, it still could never, ever cover what's coming. And you are being pushed into this. The destruction, slow destruction of the biological form in the USA, because again, as our vehicle was saying, you in the USA are leading the world in consciousness, figuring things out, because again, you have the rights to do so, or so it has been decreed nearly 250 years ago. And you will be having that anniversary about 2024. And that would be the 248th anniversary of Pluto moving around the galaxy, the solar system, and coming back to its precise position. Another change that is happening, that tomorrow or the next day, we're at the end of Libra, the sun will move into Scorpio. That will also intensify things. So the energies are becoming more pressing. And for each of you, you have to work to decompress yourselves, to consciously say, I am safe, I am fine, breathing deep, relaxing, grounding yourself, picturing a grounding cord going into the ground, putting a nice aura around yourself, a nice egg of golden energy, fortifying you. And then, of course, your chakras, red, orange, yellow, the 3 lower chakras. Red, orange, yellow. Light them up as if you were looking at a traffic light. Nice clear lights. You own those spaces. Then green for the heart and the upper body, blue, indigo, and violet. The simple act of taking the time to picture and imagine that you are safe to play these simple color games of aura and accord and colors. It seems too simple, juvenile almost. But sometimes the simplest things have the greatest effect. So these are some considerations. We have much, much more to share with you, but we wanted to give you a prelude of some of the energies you are dealing with. We have new people here. We welcome you. We are, of course, the Pleiadians. That's why you are here, ideally to meet us, and we are looking forward to meeting you and to check out to see how brilliant you are. We like brilliant students. We ask you to get your thinking caps on, as you are going to engage in impressing us with how you figure things out. We have many return students, regulars, who play the game of consciousness, and of course these sessions are recorded and then they are sold and distributed to those who are interested in exploring unexplained mysteries. That's the theme, of course, our Sunday afternoons, exploring unexplained mysteries. But overall, we are all participating and aiming for excellence in consciousness, new levels of excellence. So let's move into questions now and get a good discussion going. We will talk for perhaps another hour or some such, and then you will have recess. You can go cavort and do what you like, and then we'll come back for round 2 this afternoon. So we'd like to start off with the regulars, or people who have been with us before. And if you are brand new, never been here in person, listen. Second part, you can ask your questions. So without further ado, we turn it over to you. Who would like to begin, please? State your name and your astrological sun sign, loud and clear. No mumbling, no mousy voices.
Hi, Peace. This is Jackie Pisces.
Jackie Pisces, welcome.
Thank you.
And what is the number of your birth date?
5.
5 of
March.
Of March. So 5 would be about 12 or 13 degrees Pisces. Important to understand that Neptune has been around your sun. Neptune is about going up to the midpoint, not there yet. Chiron is 26 or 27 Pisces. So just to give you a bit of reflection on yourself, Jackie, Neptune can be very confusing, but it's also very at home in Pisces. It's home, so it's more empowered. You being a Pisces and having Neptune on your sun, it would be inevitable that if you were on the higher path of consciousness, you would be pursuing these ideas of spirituality. If you were not on the higher path of consciousness, you could be deluded, you could be very confused. Worst case basis, you could become an addict of some sort to escape how complex and how big the Pisces picture is growing. And we give it to Jackie, she's a regular, but also anyone else may have the same birthday or around that time, you would be dealing with very similar issue. All right, so what is your question, Jackie?
Well, in reflection of the exposure that your vehicle spoke of earlier concerning the church.
Yeah, the church.
Or religion, I should say.
Yes.
And many of us have come through that system.
Most, we would say, come through that system.
Yes. And lately I've been reflecting on the rituals. And the ritual...
You mean the way energy is managed?
Yes. and the rituals within that system of, for instance, the wine and the bread, so to speak, that is partaken in particular Sundays. And I got to thinking that when we question who are we worshiping and what are we doing, have we energized some really dark things and consented to maybe the drinking of blood, all the symbolism that happens within the system, and the breaking and eating of the body?
You mean, in the name and the glory of God, you are forgiven. Now drink my blood, and eat my body. And of course, it's very important to start thinking about the words. Again, we emphasize words, power of words. Eat my body, drink my blood.
Yes.
This is, of course, the core of the sacrament of communion in the Catholic Church. But it also predates Catholicism by a long range, because, there are stories among indigenous peoples all over the world about settlers, cosmic settlers from the heavens. Of course, they're all talking about the Anunnaki. And the Anunnaki, of course, introduced eat my flesh, drink my blood, because, to be quite honest with you, we've said this before, that just like if you have chickens, you raise them in your yard, you realize the dogs like the chickens, the foxes like the chickens, the hawks, the eagles, everybody likes chickens, including the humans. And humans have been used as food for other humans, by the giants, of which there's much record of the giants, and of course by the dreaded reptilian creatures of no one is quite sure who they are and what they are. And so there's a long cellular memory of this type of activity. They call it cannibalism or whatever. And so for the Church, the Catholic Church, to use these names in the glory of God, remember, when you are given this sacrament in the Church, it is a sign that you have confessed, and that then you have done, what did they give you? They give you penance or something? What does they give you? You confess, and then they say, you must do this, say this many prayers, etc. And then you say that, and then you deserve to get the body and the blood, which is basically host and wine. So it's something big to think about, Jackie. And of course, every Sunday it's energized. Not just Sunday, this ritual is going on every minute of the day somewhere around the world. What does that mean? Is it more powerful than your cell phones? Absolutely. Your cell phones have only been around a few decades. These rituals, at least the Catholic version of this, has been around for nearly 2,000 years. And so when you say things and you do things and you partake in a group, remember, group participation amplifies the effects. One mind's thinking by itself has power. Two minds coming together and discussing ideas have much more power. Add three minds to it and it is exponentially boosted. Add millions of people performing these rituals every day. This is why the same efficacy is also applied to the media. Yes, it's not a holy ritual, but it is. You're being robbed. You're being told what to think, what to do, and you put your attention on something, you are energizing it. Even though you may not like it or think you're even involved in it, you put your attention on something, and you will be, if you become enraptured with it, you are energizing it. You were talking earlier about, our vehicle was talking about the solar eclipse of August. Millions of people putting their attention on the sun and not really thinking a whole lot, just their attention. So watch where you place it. Anything else, Jackie?
Yes.
Keep your voice up, yes.
Thank you for explaining that and just bringing our awareness even further into what we're participating in without realizing sometimes, the other side of the effects of that. When I think about the Anunnaki robbing the planet of the precious metal, the gold, does that deplete an important part of our planet for them to take it away from the stability of what we call home in this realm?
Not to the capacity that you would be bereft of gold. You probably would be absolutely astounded at some of the veins of gold and the power of gold. And of course, we do want to remind all of you, because as we go into these Anunnaki stories or what they've done to you, and as you become awakened to it, sometimes you feel powerless as to how old it is, how big the manipulation is. Remember, from a soul level, you had a preview before you came in, all of you, of what was potential. And how do we know you had a preview? Because think about your lives, each of you. And everything in your lives had led you to this particular moment. And it's an ordinary moment. You are simply attending a moon afternoon class, but it is also an extraordinary moment, because we are transmitting energy to you, and you have agreed on some level to come onto the earth to be with loved ones and friends and family at this time, because your soul could make massive, vaulted advancements in consciousness that perhaps have not been possible at all in any of the time that the Anunnaki have been ruling you, at least in this section, the last 500,000 years. We'll move on, but we'll come back to you, Jackie, if you choose. All right, who else has a question, please?
This is Jean.
Jean, and you are?
Scorpio.
Scorpio, all right. Happy birthday, it's coming.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, and what is the number of your date, please?
November 12th.
November 12th. So 12 is about 20 degrees. So, of course, the sun, you will have your birth date. And then Mercury will be there soon. Mercury is in Scorpio now. Actually, the other day, Mercury and Jupiter were aligned, so big opportunity to think deep and think bigger. Scorpio is tremendously about power. And here's something important to know about Scorpio. Its power, many astrologers say, it's always dealing with lust and occult and sex and money and resources and wealth, and the Scorpios dig deep into trouble sometimes, and they get themselves into trouble. But the ultimate for any of you that have things in Scorpio is that Scorpio, its vindication of itself is forgiveness. And you've heard this forgiveness, if you forgive someone, but when you do forgiveness on the truest level, you clear your karmic slate, not that of the other. It means you clear yourself. So if someone has trespassed on you, for example, and you have this issue, you have to forgive them. You forgiving them frees you from having to get caught in some kind of karmic loop. It doesn't free them. They still have to pay the price, but you extricate yourself. That is the point of forgiveness. You understand?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Many people think, oh, forgive me please, then I will be free. No, you mess up, you got to pay. All right. We'd like to give a little reading to everyone, because everyone's got similar astrological energies. So Jean, yes. All right. What's your question?
Well, I'm wondering what is going on with the leader in Myanmar that everyone is so kind of startled by, the Rohingya crisis, the Buddhist majority driving the Muslim minority out of the country, and really extreme cruelty.
Oh, extreme, yes.
And people are just so shocked. I believe the woman's name is like Aung San Suu Kyi.
Yes, and she became elevated, and they made her a big Nobel Prize or something.
Yes.
And everyone was so happy because she had been sequestered or hidden away. It was all a song and dance.
Mm-hmm.
This is all political manipulation, and again, world leaders, there's a big division all over the planet of wronging certain people. You are Buddhist, so you are bad. You are Muslim, so you are bad. You are Protestant, oh, you are from the South, oh, you must be bad, you are Confederates. Oh, you are black, oh, no, you are that. You are a woman, you have caused big trouble. This is how you are being divided at this time. And so politically, yes, there's that issue. She's being set up. She's actually not as free as others would claim she is. She's being very much manipulated behind the scenes. There's some very, very dark energies there. And again, lots of people think, oh, the Buddhists, they are also good. Yes. Yes, it's all a cover. The Buddhists have done some very, very bad things. And like in all religions, in all organizations. What else, Jean?
That's all for now. I guess it's one of those people just really taken aback by her
cruelty.
Her.
And then they are being pushed into what Bangladesh is, and Bangladesh is poor man's territory.
Right.
It's constantly flooded. This would be east India. Bangladesh, they're always dying in great, great numbers. So. Yes, and another level, the tests for all people around the planet is that you're all under jeopardy, under one level or another. In the USA, you're still closer to the top of the mountain, but we will say around 2024 in the USA, when you have a Pluto return, 2022, 2024. That era, there's some rough years ahead in the USA, and there will be some karmic years, because as you are becoming aware, there's military forces from the US all over the world in places that they have no business being, and until you find out they're there, you don't even know they're there, and they may be there for a cover, for, well, we're here to negotiate peace with these rebels, or we are here to guard this or guard that. It's all a cover story. It's placement, it's spying, it's assassination, and what is the purpose of all of this? Is this warmongering? Is this about military advancement? Is it about economic takeover, international bankers? That's only a very earthly level of it. Jackie brought it up about gold, but it's more about the earthly resources. Your scientists have come up with the idea recently that you see all those stars out there, they're all likely to have planets orbiting them. So suddenly, in the last 50 years, when there couldn't possibly be anything else out there, the latest news is there's so much out there. So if there's so much out there, why the great interest in Earth? That's the big question. And of course, it's your genetics. The gold is a cover, and the gold is needed. But gold can be mined in many places. The advantage of Earth is that if gold is mined here, some Anus can be stationed here, and they can adapt to this environment. They do not find it easy to adapt to this environment, but they have their own forms of, since Halloween is close, we'll call it hocus pocus, to be able to create sometimes what you use the term avatar. Mm-hmm. An avatar would be, tell us the definition of, Roger, how would you define avatar?
An artificial being that can be manipulated by a selected consciousness.
That's very good, Roger, for just spontaneously being called on. We admire you for that. And that this avatar may be able to operate in an environment that the consciousness behind the avatar could not as easily adapt to or fit into. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And the Anunnaki, because of their deep exposure to cosmic radiation, and they have adapted to this type of environment, they have created avatars. Today you might call them AIs or RT Intels. And today the AI RT Intel business is in full swing. You remember when the fellow invented Walmart? There was first one Walmart, and everyone wanted a Walmart, or before that it was the fellow who invented McDonald's. There was one, and then suddenly they were everywhere. Long ago, it was not so easy to make these avatars. It's not just you wave a wand or something. You need an infrastructure. And when the Anunnakis came here, there was no infrastructure. It was all destroyed. And so they claim they came for gold, but it's really the genetics. And this is what's happening today. The people that they deem, let's use the right word here. Henry Kissinger called them useless eaters. That's quite insulting. But the people that cannot make the next level of responsibility and taking care of themselves, they're going to be eliminated. And so there is this, from the God game level, Anunnaki level, a need to cull the people of Earth. Many of them are not needed any longer because the infrastructure that the Anunnaki wanted built on Earth is now built. They did not have to build it themselves. 500,000 years ago, they had to build it themselves. They built their spaceports. Then they made the Lulus, the Yus, the primitive workers, to mine and to develop certain things for them. But you are always rated for your genetics. And many, many people have been removed from Earth to seed other places. So they're not just interested in gold, they are interested in refining a certain type of human. They're interested in the energy, the consciousness that human has. And more than that, the Anunnaki actually are very threatened by the rise in human consciousness and awareness, as we've mentioned many times. To them, the word mutiny sends fear throughout their entire system. It is something they avoid at all cost, a mutiny. And so they will divert mutinies with war. All right, who else has a question?
I'm sorry, I did have something else.
Yes. Yes.
You hit on a little bit. I was wondering, this recent ambush of U.S. forces in Niger, it seemed to have outed or brought to the surface what you mentioned about
Exactly.
the United States' presence being far more pervasive in places that had no idea that we were there.
And let's talk about Niger. Niger, as it's called, or with a French twist to it, Niger. Africa is full of ancient antiquities. And there are buried under sands, covered over with forests, depending upon whether you are dealing with Sahara, rainforest, sub-Sahara, whatever part of the topography. Many, many, many structures, ruins that date back tens of thousands of years. And of course, the militaries of the world have used ground-penetrating radar, or what you call now, it's available to you, what you call it, you look at the pictures from the sky, you look at the earth, and you can see different locations. So they make it available for people to study the earth, but they are covering up what's really there. So many of these military outposts are there to, yes, negotiate with the tribal leaders or to quell this rebellion or this insurrection. And that may be what some of the military people think they are doing there. But there'll always be a group who's behind those who are going into what you call stargates or bringing stargates with them. A stargate is considered to be a time portal, and there are many of these, quote, stargates, wormholes, mini black holes around the Earth. They're areas where magnetic anomalies occur, but also the military has figured out how to pack up a stargate and transport it into ancient locations around the planet. They would put a military contingent there for XYZ reasons and then stir up trouble so that it looks as if the military is there in the name of keeping peace and getting rid of what you call the troublemakers.
ISIS? Rebels?
Insurgents, yes, that is the word we want, insurgents. And to get rid of these insurgents, so that would be the cover, where then stealth teams that had invisible technology could then go in, open a time portal or a stargate, and literally dial up the time period they want to travel to, say in Niger, travel to it, go back in time, and study time and rearrange things. This, folks, sounds exceptionally far out, but it is not far out at all. The advancements in military intrigue and stealth and using time-altering technologies, again, if there were, let's say there were 100 people that were stationed there, 7 might be involved in the time work and the stealth work. The other 93 would be the cover. And who cares if a few die here and there? Yet when it gets out, it causes trouble. And then the trouble then becomes Trump not giving the right accolade, etc. And so you see how everything becomes completely taken down to something that has nothing to do with what was really going on. This is why, friends, next number of years are going to be extraordinarily interesting for all of you. And this year's a hot year for this galactic alignment stirs up greater psychic abilities. And you will find, if you start thinking about and questioning these things, you will get more ahas, because the information's out there. You just have to learn how to focus in and read it, because it's in the ethers. Anything else, Jean?
Now, so I wonder then, part of what you're saying, why phone calls, Trump maybe didn't make his phone calls fast enough, but people were really wondering why the military was so incredibly slow. They don't really seem to want to acknowledge, they haven't gotten a story together about what those guys are doing there, that they want to tell people.
Absolutely. It smells a little bit like Benghazi also, where they didn't have the story quite together. Oh, that was much more practical and prosaic, of running of armaments and things of this nature. When you're dealing with Africa and you're dealing with the Middle East, and even places, of course, in China, Russia, but you see, Africa, as you know, was the home continent of the visiting extraterrestrial Enki. This is his territory. This is where the resources are. This is where the mysteries are. So Africa is top on the list for the Chinese to go in, for the U.S. to go in. Everyone wants to tap Africa under the name of, you poor Africans, we are going to protect you. And of course the Africans have been messed with for so long. They've betrayed each other. They don't understand. They're not the most worldly of people. It's not an insult. It's just they do not have the larger experience of understanding the manipulations and how they are being exploited. They can sometimes be very naive. And all people can be naive, and to be fair, all people are exploited. It makes no difference what color skin you are, what race you come from. You're all exploited. It's just some are a little more out of the loop than others. And of course that can have to do with culture and how the area that you are coming from has developed. Third world countries in general are extremely manipulated. They are used not just for resources but for many other things. All right, who else has a question?
Terry, 29.
Who is it, Terry?
Terry, yes, cancer 29.
29th of June.
Yes.
All right, so you are pretty early on the game there, and you've already been through some of your tumult. All right, so what's your question, Terry, and welcome.
Thank you. My question is about something that you mentioned in our last session about Hejira and our present location as being a Hejira, at least for some of us. And I wasn't sure, though, whether you meant Raleigh in particular as a place of refuge, or maybe North Carolina, or even a wider scope, the USA, and also compare it to something I heard in one of your recordings from a few years ago, where you warned that Raleigh was actually an unstable place. And
Because of Research Triangle Park.
Yes. And
Everybody's stirring up a lot of trouble a few miles down the road, and again the karmic blowback of play with the dark energies, and after a while, guess what you're going to get? Dark energies, more of them. Continue, please.
Yes, and I remember that you, in that discussion, you cautioned Roger and George that they might have to relocate because of the instability in Raleigh. So, anyway,
Well, George did relocate.
Yes.
It's a bit of a joke there, but he just departed this reality. He's in the other reality. He's doing fine. So, is that the entirety of your question?
Yes. In other words, the question is this actually a place of refuge, a good place for some of us to be in the future, and or not? Or is it going to be too unstable? I think in one other talk, you mentioned that you Pleiadians have chosen this place especially because of the challenges posed by the Research Triangle.
There were definitely reasons for this particular location, and long ago we suggested, and someone said, "What Pleiadians are you working here in this location?" We said, because there was an ancient energy bucket here. That was, perhaps Roger remembers those exact words, an energy bucket.
Yes.
And of course everyone said, they were all excited, but they afterwards said, energy bucket, what does that really mean, energy bucket? Of course, now you can understand that in very simplistic terms 30 years ago, a bucket holds something. And so this area holds something. The other thing we mentioned long ago, that there used to be a land bridge, a series of islands that came closer to the coast. And so North Carolina was a bit of a bridge from those who came from Caribbean and various islands onto the mainland. And things were transported long ago, tens of thousands of years ago, and transported across this part of the plain of North Carolina and into the mountains. Many things eventually will be uncovered that were sequestered in the granite vaults of the Smoky and Appalachian Mountains of North Carolina. So Hejira refers to fleeing to a place of refuge, as Terry was talking about. And let's say there's all manner of Hejira. There are some beings from the cosmos who are fleeing other places, coming to Earth for a sanctuary. There are probabilities that change all the time. And the information that we may have given years ago perhaps was very valid at the time, which probabilities change. Consciousness changes. Now, in the last number of years, Raleigh has come back after the economic disturbances of 2008, and right now you're having a big boom here. And it looks affluent, and again, all the restaurants and new houses and people moving down here. The problem is that when the next crash comes, it's going to be even worse. Because all the people that are moving down here, they're all in debt. They're all buying things they can't afford because they're thinking, wow, the economy's fixed and the stock market is up, and look at the gains, and wow, we are in a big Christmas, just like Donald Trump said, making America great again, when it's all an illusion. So on that level, Raleigh will have even more difficulty on the next economic downturn, of which, again, as we were saying, there is a potential between now and, let's say, early first week in January, when Mars conjuncts Jupiter and really creates problems. Again, Mars, Jupiter, chaos in Scorpio, money. So between now, October number 22, and first week in January, there's a high probability, very high probability, that there will be an adjustment. Not a wipeout, but it will wipe some people out. You are just in that window, so to speak. So that will make it unfavorable, and Raleigh's success may be crashed economically. Not destruction we are talking about, but lots of people have the potential to suddenly be out of business and their assets gone. Think of something pretty sudden out of nowhere. But again, if you look, it's all pointing in that direction. And again, you are not all living in the same world. So again, Terry, the world you live in Raleigh, is not the same world, the same Raleigh, that those who are doing dark things in RTP. Basically taking genes from an animal or genes from a human and playing around with them in secret military government contracts. And of course, very few people who do this work know what they are doing. Well, they may be experts on a certain part of a sequence of genes, a certain specialty of being able to extract this and place this there. But if they are told, oh, you are just weaving this into this, you are putting a leek with an onion, oh, no problem. They don't think. Brilliantly bright people who perform precise operations without understanding the bigger picture. And again, in RTP, a lot of this is being done by robotics. So, is it safe? Is this a safe area to live? Who is it that there is a big company that wants to relocate somewhere? Is it Amazon? Amazon. If you get the Amazon contract, it will not be good. Then we would say, better think about, rethink your position here. And you have to figure it out. Inclement weather, of course, is always going to be an issue here. But Terry and all of you, if you are really clear with your intentions, I want to be in the right place at the right time, I want to be comfortable, have good friends, excellent monetary support, and I want to live in a place that is safe, harmonious. And if you state what you want, then the forces will let you know when the conditions change. And again, remember, you're all in different worlds. And even though the news and the newspapers will do everything to make you think you are all in the same world, you are not in the same world. You each create your own world. This is why one person's living in complete safety, and the person next door may be living in complete fear. Who else has a question, please?
Thank you. This is Sue, Sagittarius.
Sue, welcome.
Thank you.
What mischief have you been up to?
Working, just taking care of my own business and life.
That's a very safe answer. All right, go ahead.
So I want to go back to what Jean was asking about with these soldiers and this whole thing unfolding between Trump and this woman from Florida.
Yes.
And I was wondering...
It's all a setup, you know that.
Exactly. Why are they doing this? And they're continuing it. And you did answer my question. And I'm wondering, how long will they continue to play out this scenario?
This scenario really takes the pressure off of Las Vegas.
Okay.
Just as the fires in California took a lot of the attention off of Las Vegas, but people cannot watch fires all the time and feel distracted. They feel afraid. You understand?
Uh-huh.
This they can take sides on and be distracted. This is again the reality show of America, one American against another. The Vegas story, of course, is totally bogus. It's a total setup on so many levels. But also the downside of Vegas is that so many people wanted to help other people. And that, of course, is not a good thing to show a country that you want to divide and separate. So that story had to be buried and covered for many, many reasons. It was an attempt to take down the administration or the plans of Donald Trump and those who back him. Of course, it was absolutely an effort to disarm America, which is almost impossible to do. The fanatics that want to take your guns away, they will never achieve it. They are very afraid that there will be mutiny here by ex-military people in the USA who will dismantle, we are saying this all as gently as we can, that who will dismantle the government in all its capacities. We will reiterate on this now. There are many dark scandals behind the scenes and much chaos, as we mentioned earlier. This chaos is not just about who is on what team or what their plans are. Many, many people are involved in some very, very dark practices, of which they are of a ritualistic nature. And the idea of pornography and pedophilia, this is all just scratching the surface on what's really the kind of real rituals of managing energy and honoring beings from other dimensions to get them to come down. And of course, children are used, people are blackmailed, there's all manner of dark things that are coming. With Jupiter in the sign of Scorpio, now the Sun joining, Mercury there, expect some massive, massive uncoverings, and secrets will come out. And right now, a lot of it is what you would call a controlled demolition. Remember Harvey the Weinstein was in the middle of all this. This is a massive player in the film industry, the managing of your beliefs and your mind. This man has made hundreds and hundreds of films, has received nearly 100 awards from the Academy for his work, and when someone starts to say everyone knows what he's doing, this is also code to say to all the players, we've got all of your records, and you'd better pray that you're just going to get accused of raping a woman. Just get accused of that, because behind that are some horrifically dark things. And of course, this is the season of what we call the great big something burger. You know, we've been prepping you for a few months now. We said the nothing burger was the burger of the summer. But come autumn, it will be the great big something burger, and that means that it's going to be shocking and rattling to people's consciousness. So Niger is, of course, a layer of cover-up. And in order to cover up the story, you have to play to people's emotions. So General Kelly comes out and talks about very emotional things, and everyone says, "Ooh, goodness, a military person is emotional. Wow!" Everything is planned. There's not one thing that goes out to the media to affect the masses that is not planned and set up. These are massive diversions away from what's really, really going on. Advanced military procedures, time altering, eliminating people from the planet slowly, methodically, by spraying the skies, by feeding you poisons in your food, by encouraging you every year to get this vaccination, get your vaccination, get your flu shot. The flu shots are pure poison. Vaccinations are pure poison. But people can't think anymore. They are operating under so much fear, and they are simply like leaves being blown around in the wind. So the lady from Florida, again, all set up, saying Trump said this, no he didn't, he said that. How many times in the last, 9 months you've had him, has it been he said, no he didn't say? Hundreds? Mm-hmm. Look for the pattern. Look for the pattern, because the pattern is, if you find the pattern, it's very effective. Divide one American against another American, and then it covers up everything. And know that all of these events, the hurricanes, steered weather, the fires started, Las Vegas, absolutely a takedown. Harvey, not the hurricane, Harvey 2, we'll call him. Harvey 2 absolutely is a threat. It was a complete and out threat. You think you're so smart? We're going to take down one of your really big players. He's not at the top of the heap, but taking down Harvey puts fear across the board through all of Hollywood. And we will say with complete distinction, everyone that plays that game of film, movies, awards, academies, dressing up, pretending to be someone, playing these parts, you think some are able to say, no, Harvey, don't touch me. I wouldn't go near that. I'm not available for that. How far do you think a person like that would get? The bad news is, the big something burger, is that all of your politicians are blackmailed, often with very, very dark things. All of Hollywood is in cahoots and in cathals, and they're in control of these dark rituals, and it's all photographed. There's records of it. So when the exposures start to come, it's very, very devastating. Many, many, many realities are about to be shattered and unraveled. So the things you are asking about, Sue, we reiterate on this because we are wanting you to understand the technique of how to divert the public into meaningless arguments. You have the same thing in football, yes?
Yes.
You have the same thing with the Confederate flag. It can go on and on and on. Or you have something called other arguments. What is it called? Cultural appropriation.
Yes.
It means that if I'm Italian and I make pizza, don't you dare think of making pizza. Do you see how stupid it is? Mm-hmm. They'll get anything to divide you. So bottom line is, be nice to each other. Reach across the aisle to men, women, to people of different cultures and races, and understand that you are people attempting to figure things out. And when you are gracious to one another and you give a nice smile or compliment someone or give them a helping hand, you are completely opposing this takeover of humanity. And you are doing what is really in your greatest grace and dignity, is to be generous, to be kind, and to help one another. But also it is your duty to understand the much, much, much bigger picture. So what else, Sue?
Well, lately I have been thinking about human trafficking, and that human...
You mean the selling of humans or the enslavement of humans?
Both. And that is probably larger, that this is one of the things that people would be shocked about.
Absolutely. In this country, but also all around the world. Yes, it is, again, as we've said, if you are not clever enough to rise beyond survival, it used to be people incarnated on the planet and they worked on who am I, how can I survive, root chakra. How can I survive? I can get married, I have children, I must have meaningful work. Century upon century of that level of operation. Today, survival is very difficult in every country of the world. It's not easy. Things cost so much money and then they lead to nothing. Our vehicle heard something the other day on the radio about her alma mater costing now something like $80,000 a year to go to college. 1 year. And then you get out and what are you going to do? Oh, there's the couch. You can sleep on my couch for a few years until you figure out how to pay back $300,000. This is all, again, a sign of intellectual collapse. It is a sign of IQ decline. It is a sign of what we call cognitive failure. All right, who else is thinking about something?
Peace, this is Dorsey.
Dorsey.
July 28th.
July 28th. He's a Leo. And so you would be about 8 days or so into Leo. So you would be about 7 degrees Leo. Leo is full of itself. Where's the beeper? They are regal and royal. And if Dorsey came in with a big wig on, a big blonde mane, he would look like a lion. Absolutely. But basically, Dorsey, you will be, with Leo, you will be having soon 7 degrees. Jupiter will be squaring your sun. From Scorpio, Mercury will be squaring it. So big opportunity to see what comes along. You are in an opportunity time. You may be challenged a little bit, but there's opportunity behind it. What you have to watch out for would be a few years down the road, all the Leos, all the Tauruses, Scorpios, and Aquarians, less than a year from now, more like 6 moons from now, a little more, Uranus will move into Taurus. And then in about 2 years from next May, Uranus will be squaring your sun. It could be, Dorsey, you suddenly become the mad professor and you are super smart and you have a sudden shocking vaulting lift in whatever it is that excites you, but something to prepare for. So, Dorsey, what's your question?
Well, my question is, when this Vegas shooting happened, I felt like it was the main reason I felt like to try to disarm America.
Absolutely.
And
remember, the next morning, Hillary Clinton was already calling for disarmament.
Right. And my friend that's from Germany, he said Germany's pretty much washed up. All the refugees that's there, the Syrians, whatever.
Yes.
They said that he had, I think it was over 680,000 rapes and assaults last year. And they
600,000 rapes?
680,000, I think he said. And he said 20 or 25% of the children being born now are, from rape victims. And they're raping boys and girls. He said a lot of people with money in Germany now, they're basically leaving. And in your
So think about the karmic aspect that this involves, number one. Germany, the ultimate sort of frightening group of people, invaded the world for 2 wars, and now they are invaded by, quote, so-called Syrians, many young men from different parts of the Middle East migrated, pushed there. And then, of course, it completely, and Merkel welcomed them, completely changed the whole economic status of Germany. So there is Merkel, is that her name?
Angela Merkel.
She is complicit in this, and this is part of the takedown of the power of the German people. So,
And I know in Germany they don't have guns, you can't have weapons. Certain people have, but pretty much they're
not like the cowboys of
Not
the
like
USA,
it.
no.
And so I feel that that was the main. I feel like since they're washed up, but I feel like that's and it happened so quick. I mean, because them refugees haven't been there that long to pretty much disrupt Germany like that. But the only reason that I think they were able to do that because they're not armed. Because the people that retaliate against, say, you rape your child or whatever, they retaliated. They prosecuted the Germans because they said they didn't know who all of them looked alike and they couldn't really do anything. So they basically let them go.
And so this is from your associate who lives
Right.
in Germany.
From Germany. Go there about every 3 months or so.
All right, so this is an on-site report, and of course, on-site reports are going to be very different than what the media-controlled story would be. Yes, Europe is under siege. It's all planned. It's complicit from the inside because, again, on the bigger level, there is a plan to create world governments. And the extraterrestrials, we've said to you that from the Anunnaki point of view, 15 years is a day and a half to the Anunnaki. 30 years are 3 days in Anunnaki counting time. So to methodically start to poison people or to decommission them with cellular devices, that would be the beginning of decommissioning your humanity and replacing it with the magic of seemingly instant information. Yet all the studies show the IQs are going down and down, and the level of intelligence is vastly diminished. So that even in your country, young people have no idea what the Bill of Rights is really about. That's something. That's a great achievement, that your educational system has wiped out one of the greatest documents that gives you the freedoms that you have. So take a recess now. We'll come back in about 15 or 20 minutes for part 2 of Moon Afternoon.